Welcome friends to video 9 of week 5. We'll talk about the frontier of digital deception in this video. Today, as we step into a world where our senses can no longer be trusted as face value, the world of deepfakes and synthetic voices. For the first time in history, a person's voice, face, and writing style can be artificially generated with frightening accuracy. That means crime no longer depends on what a person does, but on what technology can make them appear to have done. This is where forensic linguistics becomes a shield protecting truth when digital reality becomes fluid. We can start with the first question: what exactly is a deepfake? Friends, deepfakes are artificially engineered images, videos, or audio created using machine learning. They mimic real humans, often without their consent, and can be weaponized for fraud, extortion, political manipulation, or personal harm. But the real challenge it is deepfakes are not just visual threats, they are linguistic threats. Friends, synthetic voices read scripted lines. AI models imitate speech patterns. Fraudsters used cloned voices to deceive families, banks, and even government institutions. Friends, synthetic voice is something where your voice is no longer your voice alone. Synthetic voice generation allows offenders to clone someone's voice using small audio samples. Sometimes just 10-15 seconds is more than enough. Once cloned, the voice can be used to make phone calls, send voice notes, create misleading audio evidence, or stage fake emergencies. Linguistically, these synthetic voices often carry subtle flaws. These are unnatural intonations, shallow breath patterns, inconsistent emotional tone. But for someone who trusts the speaker, even a flawed synthetic voice can be devastating. See, we need to understand that these deepfakes are dangerous for criminal justice system. Deepfakes challenge the very foundation of legal evidence. For centuries, courts trusted what they could see and hear. But in today's world, seeing and hearing is no longer guaranteed truth. Offenders can fabricate confessions, doctor conversations, create fake alibis, or produce fake threats. Linguistic integrity becomes an anchor. The courts depend on forensic linguists to determine whether a voice or text reflects natural human patterns or artificial manipulation. Now, how forensic linguists break the illusion? By listening beyond the voice. Friends, as I told you that forensic linguists do not listen the way ordinary listeners do. We pay attention to micro patterns like speech rhythm, vowel placement, hesitation markers, emotional calibrations, idiosyncratic phrases. All these patterns are observed at micro level. Friends, AI often struggles to replicate this naturally. A cloned voice may mimic the surface, but it lacks depth. It may deliver words, but it does not deliver the soul how people speak. Like the spontaneous pauses, the subtle inconsistencies, the linguistic identity that is woven through years of lived experience, that cannot be copied, that cannot be manipulated with 10-15 seconds or some minutes of audio. So, linguists listen to those invisible cracks. Friends, deep fakes are not only about audio and video. Even textual deepfakes are there, where AI mimics writing style. AI can now imitate writing styles, producing emails, messages, or threatening notes that appear authentic. In several cases worldwide, victims have been framed using fabricated text evidence. But even here, linguistic analysis works like a flashlight. AI struggles with sustained consistency. Over longer texts, its pattern flattens, like intonation becomes predictable, emotional peaks disappear, and creative errors repeat. Friends, human writing carries organic irregularities that machines still cannot fully replicate. And that's the reason we can find out the person. Let's take an example, one hypothetical case. Imagine a scenario where a political leader receives a threatening voicemail and a typed note. Both appear to come from a rival. Suddenly, the panic spreads. Investigators call a forensic linguist. Upon analysis, the voice note reveals unnatural timing gaps, a synthetic rhythm. The typed note contains inconsistencies in idiomatic usage that the alleged sender never uses. The linguist proves both pieces were artificially generated to frame the rival. Deepfakes are powerful, but linguistic truth is more powerful. Friends, deepfakes work not because technology is perfect, but because humans trust voices that sound familiar. When a parent hears a cloned voice crying for help, they respond instinctively. When an employee hears the voice resembling their CEO ordering an emergency transfer, they obey. So, this is an emotional problem. And deepfakes emotionally exploit the same. Friends, deepfakes exploit emotional reflexes. Linguistics helps break the emotional illusion by focusing on structural truth, intonation mismatches, improper lexical choices, scripted paces, and many more. Now, we need to understand that how digital forensics and linguistics work together against deepfakes. No single discipline can defeat deepfakes alone. Digital forensics identifies manipulation at the pixel or waveform level, whereas linguistic identifies manipulation at a structural, cognitive, and psychological level. Together, they look beyond the surface truth and uncover the underlying intent. Friends, when both layers align, courts gain a reliable foundation for decision making. Friends, offenders often fail by copying human speech. Why? Because human speech is not just a sound, it's a behavior. Synthetic systems mimic pronunciation, but they fail to mimic behavior. Behavior includes rhythm, hesitation, emotional fluctuations, cultural phrasing, stress patterns, personal quirks, all these things. When we analyze these deeper layers, synthetic voices fall apart. They may sound real for a few seconds, but under scrutiny, artificiality becomes obvious. Believe me, friends, technology can copy voices, but it cannot copy the identity. Courts today face unprecedented questions. Is a video real? Is a voice real? Is a message authentic? Is authorship genuine? These questions were rare a decade ago. Now they appear weekly. Forensic linguists must defend methodology, explain linguistic markers, justify analytical choices, and help courts assess reliability. The legal value of linguistic integrity has never been higher. Now, how to train yourself to detect artificial speech? Friends, as you continue this course, you will train your ear to notice unnatural smoothness, repetitive cadence, mismatched emotions, and unusual breath intervals. Train your forensic eye to detect textual flatness, mechanical phrasing, and inconsistent writer identity. Deepfake detection is not just about technology. It's about sharpening human perception. We will dig deeper about deepfakes in the coming time. But for now, I must thank you for walking through with me this challenging topic. Friends, in this world where digital illusions can cause real harm, forensic linguistics becomes an anchor of truth. Friends, in the next session, we will explore cross-platform identity manipulation, how offenders create multiple personas to confuse victims and investigators. It is one of the most fascinating and psychologically loaded parts of this module. So I'll catch you there in video 10. Till then, stay tuned to the course. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.